Hello, everyone. Welcome to probably the final qualifying run of the Galactic Pod Racing Circuit Tournament for 2021. My name is Game Draco. I am a veteran of this game since 2008, and joining me today is a very solid runner and player of the game who was a rival with my old one, Mike, and King Bean Dip.
Hello. Yeah, we have three runners here today. LightningPirate is a rather old member of the community and one of our stronger runners in the tournament. Goblin Lifestyle participated in the tournament a couple years ago under the name Mystery Liquid, and Jogilbee is unknown to me, so we'll see how he does.
Yeah, he's a total unknown. I have no idea what to expect from jogilbee. I know from the 2019 tournament that Goblin Lifestyle has a reputation for being a very quick learner of games.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think everybody is ready.
Yep, all of them said they're ready to go. So
All right.
we'll give them the countdown.
All right, so runners have been given the countdown. So this is a qualifying session. How this works is the runners will have 8 minutes to put in the fastest 3-lap time they can on this track. And they have as many attempts as they want during that time. And then we will have 3 more tracks after this one.
One from each of the 4 circuits in this game in Amateur, Galactic, Semi-Pro, and Invitational, of which we're starting on the Amateur with Mongaza Speedway.
So countdown has already been given. We're just waiting on stream delay.
And they're off.
All right, so this is the shortest track in the game, Mongaza Speedway. World record for this track is 39 point something seconds for all 3 laps. In fact, it's less than half the length of the next shortest track in the game. Goblin and Jogilbee both have clean lap 1s. Death on lap 2 for Jogilbee, so he'll be restarting. I'm not sure what time Lightning will be trying to put in here. I would expect he's going for a low 40.
And Goblin comes in with a 47.51, 47.507, 42.10 for Lightning.
Another death for Jogilbee. Or was that his first death? I don't remember. I missed Lightning's full time. Oh.
I caught it. It was like 42 something. It was a low 42.
Okay, he'll definitely be beating that then. Thank you, Nacho.
46.13 for Goblin.
So that is an improvement for him by about a second.
46.113.
So that places Goblin in 13th place overall.
And Lightning comes in with a 41.978, 44.64 for Jogilbee. 44.642 for Jogilbee.
Hopefully the sound and everything is okay on Twitch.
Yeah, it looks like
not, we can make some
we're on
adjustments.
Lightning's audio.
So this track is... Wait, how much time? Okay, 5 minutes left. This track is the most optimized track in the game as far as speedrunning goes. The world record on this track is only about a third of a second slower than a tool-assisted run, which is just amazing.
Yeah, you did that tool-assisted run and still didn't break the 39-second mark, so we know for certain that 39 is the final second.
Yeah, I didn't even get close to the 39-second mark.
45.91 for Goblin.
That is an improvement for him.
45.906.
By about 0.2 seconds. Lightning coming in on his last lap here. Ooh, he hit the wall. This is...
Not gonna go well.
Nope. 43 is no bueno.
44.750 for Jogilbee.
If you're wondering why all of the racers are using Ben Quadraneros, it's because his pod stats are simply overpowered.
Yeah.
He is easily the fastest pod in the game after the pods have been upgraded.
Yeah, he has the highest boost thrust at 400. All the pods fully upgraded top out raw at 650. And Ben Quadraneros also has the second longest booster after Mars Glow, and he's not far behind it, and that combination just allows him to go fast. 43.42. Wow.
That is a nice time from our unknown runner.
Yeah. Jogilbee, who is this mysterious pod racer? He sure impressed us with his qualifying laps, whoever he is.
Yep. He is currently in 10th place overall.
Yeah, he apparently joined the community only like maybe a week or two ago.
It's a new lap record. Yeah, we had some dropouts from the tournament, so we put out a call for more runners. And, he answered that call.
And Goblin answered that call too, and crashed to the finish of 41.192.
Is that his best time so far?
His is at best time so far, I think.
I think it is. Which is not where he wants to be.
Oh, Jogilbee goes a little deeper. He gets a 43.06.
Oh, nice.
$43.062 for Jogilbee.
This is really surprising that Lightning hasn't cracked 40 yet. He should be going for a time I would expect to be around 40.5.
Yeah, and now we have only a minute left in the run.
So we'll see what happens. Once the time runs out, the runners can no longer start any new attempts. It is always really exciting to see new people enter the tournament and do, surprise us with how well they do.
Is Lightning gonna get that thing on the buzzer? This looks like he's on a really solid pace. Time is up. We're on the final runs.
Lightning has an audible timer here. Goblin did not set a new best. Lightning
41 point.
5. That's not great.
No, not at all.
So jogilbee started this attempt after the timer. Okay, he quit. Did Goblin start his attempt after the timer?
I think he did too.
Okay. So we just won't count those runs. Well, that's not a personal best for him anyway. Alright, so
Okay.
our next track is Doug Derby. This is by time, the third shortest track in the game. Or possibly second. Although, well, I don't know. It's really short as a point, but it's also extremely technical. This is a very tight track, and getting a quick time here is brutally difficult.
You might also be familiar with the track arrangement if you're an auto racing fan, because it's based off of the real life Laguna Seca.
I guess we don't know for certain that it is. Well, okay, we don't have any confirmation from any of the game devs that it is based on that track, but the resemblance is uncanny, to say the least. When you look at the track map, they basically lay over top of each other almost perfectly. And the start line is in the same place.
Yeah. And all 3 players are ready, so we can give the countdown.
Countdown has been given. So once we get past our stream delay, we'll be off. So I guess I'll walk you through a run of a lap on Lightning's stream, assuming that he doesn't die and restart partway through the lap, which is always a possibility. And he just started the timer, so he is off. Goblin beats him to it, though.
Yeah. So
All right, so we have this turn here that he just passed. It's brutally difficult. There's a small jump here, and you have to make sure you make it down to the ground before you hit the wall with the back. Then we have this narrow section through the tunnel, and that chicane he died on is evil.
It's called the corkscrew on the real life Laguna Seca, and that corner on that track in real life is infamous.
Yeah, so you have, in this game, you have to approach that chicane at very high speed in order to get your boost timings in. but it's so tight that lining it up at high speed is tricky. So, oh right, you may also know this trigger 314 activated on Lightning's screen. That's because he's using the multiplayer mod to do this run, which is one of the allowed. Well, I think the only allowed mod in tournament.
Yeah, I think it's the only one. You're only allowed the stock PC and the other versions that came out in 64, Dreamcast, PS4, Switch, and now Xbox.
Yeah. So all that mod does is it replaces the fonts, and for multiplayer, which is the whole reason it exists, it allows you to play in multiplayer with fully upgraded mods. So it has no effect whatsoever in a speedrunning context. So a low 34 for him is okay. I'm sure he'll be trying to improve on that as time goes on. Goblin finishing up his third lap. He just has 2 turns left now.
And Lightning crashes through the roll straight and dies in the corkscrew. 2
Goblin
minutes.
just barely missed the 2-minute mark.
2 minutes, .331 for Goblin.
It's also interesting to see that all 3 players are using Ben here. This is one of the tracks in the game that is tight enough that for less experienced players, they can usually get a better time with a more agile pod, such as Bullseye or Mars Glow.
Or also often Mahonics used too.
Yeah, there are a variety of options on this track.
Yeah,
Ben is unequivocally the fastest, but by far more difficult than the others.
147.604 for Lightning.
Which I dare say is really slow for him.
Well, he crashed on the second lap.
Wait, was that a 47 or a 37?
47.
Yeah, so he's 14, 15 seconds off some of his competition. I wonder if he didn't have any time to practice for this qualifying.
Yeah, he came back, I think, only a few days ago, so he might still be de-rusting, as we like to say.
Yeah. So, what this qualifying session is, we're not qualifying for whether or not the runner makes it into the tournament at all, but rather what place they will occupy in the tournament bracket. So getting a good spot in the tournament bracket is really important because it determines who you will face in the tournament. That is a pretty good time, is lap 2 there. Jogilbee 152. That is impressive.
152.69.
Really makes me wonder where this guy came from.
Yeah. 152. Yeah. Yeah. And Lightning comes in with a 145.505. Not quite for Goblin.
Yep, couple seconds off his previous best. So let's see where these players are standing at the moment. Oh man, Lightning is sitting in 11th. This is really surprising. Jogilbee is in 13th. Goblin is in 16th. And that's out of 19 players so far.
Yeah, the final 2 will be qualifying tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I think they'll be each doing it individually.
About half of the time has been used so far. Lightning's still struggling to keep his feet up. So really quick recap on how the boost works. As you boost, you heat up. As you don't boost, you cool down. And so any time that you spend all the way cooled off and not boosting is time that you could have been boosting, which makes it unrecoverable lost time. And this track is so tight that managing that is extremely difficult.
Particularly,
yeah, particularly with Ben. And so that's why I'm commenting on Lightning's failure to keep his boost heat up.
yeah. In the game, we refer to this as underheating.
201, he's 1 second off of his personal best still. He's consistent though. I mean, all 3 of his runs have been within 2 seconds of each other.
Ooh, that was a... I'm amazed Lightning survived that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm amazed he survived that.
I would really like to see Goblin and potentially even jogilbee try like bullseye or something. But it looks like Ben is the name of the game today.
Yeah. Yeah, my record back in the day was with Bullseye, which was just under 140, and that's actually pretty solid for Bullseye, because Bullseye tops out around maybe 137 on this track. 145.27 for jogilbee.
Wow. That beats
pretty
Lightning
impressive
time.
for insane time for a freshman.
Yeah, that's a third of a second faster than the time Lightning has posted so far.
Ooh,
that hurts.
just...
Lightning's best so far is a 145. Looks like he will be beating that. Barely.
144 despite a death. Wow. And we did not catch Jogilebee's top full time because he...
It was 145.272.
272. Oh, great. Thank you for catching that, because that was so quick to capture. Yeah.
This is one of the tracks that a lot of speedrunners of the game tend to avoid because of its difficulty. And for reference, there are 25 tracks in the game. This is probably in the top 5 in terms of difficulty.
Yeah. And right after this is the track that speedrunners consider the absolute hardest in Gravine Gateway.
Uh-huh.
And the top 5 hardest tracks are usually between Doug Derby, Baru Coast, Gravine Gateway, Fire Mountain Rally, and Bunta Classic, with Gravine Gateway at the top of difficulty.
Yeah, that's pretty much universally agreed upon. An honorable mention, though, is this, which is not, in a speedrunning context, it's not the most difficult, but for casual play, it is brutal. It's just so unfair how that track is designed.
Yeah, you fall off the
Hey,
top
Goblin, how's your
level.
time?
157.28. 157.276. I think that time was done by Jeremy Clarkson of Top Gear on Laguna Seca back in the day. Yeah, he got.
That's right. I remember that episode.
Yeah, he tried to beat a video game time in real life with the same car he did in the game. He used an Acura NSX supercar, and he cut out the run because he was so embarrassed and only got 157 when he got 141 in the game.
Yeah, although to his credit, he was playing Gran Turismo 5, which is a game I played a lot at the time, and in my opinion, he was using the wrong tires in game.
That's hilarious.
So,
I could.
yeah, he made. Yeah, his real time may have actually been much closer to his game time. Had they been more careful to match the tires.
Well, also, I felt like it was a best case scenario of being a bad gamer and a really great driver, because almost every other case it's the exact opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, because in that game, it's kind of funny. The stock tires are the worst tires available for every car, but those aren't the default tires that you're given for each car, which is just really weird. So I believe that he did the run with the default tires, not the stock tires. I haven't played that game in forever.
Yeah. 33.59 for Lightning. Oof. Lost that critical boost. He really needs to make it up on this roll string corkscrew. And he isn't. Oof. Lightning is under a recipe for underheating pretty badly.
I guess we'll find out in a minute, Nacho.
He really needs to go pell-mell on this final lap.
33 is a decent time.
Yeah.
For his lap 2. We'll see if he can hold this together. He'll get one more attempt after this run. Is what there is time for. He survives that turn.
It survives the corkscrew. Okay,
yeah, this will definitely be a best for him. 39.
139.9. 139.796.
All right, that's better.
That's a time I honestly. Yeah, that's what in the world? Jogilbee's coming in with 145. No.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. He previously had a 145.4, I believe.
Yeah.
A 145.0 is obviously better, and his timer is not muted. Yeah, so since the timer has gone off, no new runs can be started from this point. Ooh, Jogilbee's game crashed.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll just assume that was 145.075.
Yeah.
Once in a while this game crashes after you complete a race.
Yeah. The Steam version is a bit more crash prone than the GOG version.
Oh no,
though.
it didn't crash.
32.24 for Lightning. think he's having some OBS issues.
Yeah. Oh, no, there it is.
145.71. And Goblin comes in with a 157.17, which is still slightly faster. And Lightning comes in with 138.073. Okay. We got... everyone got their best times on their last attempt here.
Nacho, did you get Goblin's time recorded?
Now we're going on to the hardest track in the whole game in Gravine Gateway.
Okay, so we should see the player switching from Ben to Bullseye, Navarre. Going from the fastest pod in the game to the most agile. There are only 2 tracks in the game where Ben is not the fastest, and those 2 tracks both belong to Bullseye. Yeah, his agility is kind of insane. It makes him difficult to play with because he's so twitchy. But for this track, it's simply necessary.
Yeah. And I just made a note to all the runners to say make sure to take a run with crashes for your first attempt, because this track is so brutal and will make you crash.
Yes. I commented the other day that there aren't enough words in the dictionary to describe all of the places you can die on this track. It's just insane.
Yeah. It's a brutally winding track. Very few spots you can boost in, and the only spots you can boost in are so short that Bullseye is just beats everyone here.
Uh-huh. So,
And
go ahead.
And Ben isn't even in the top 3 for this track. After Bullseye, the fastest pods are probably Neva second and Mars in third.
Yeah, with surprisingly enough, Slide and Anakin might also be decent contenders before Ben makes the list.
Yeah.
Alright, so Lightning just barely surviving that little shortcut. We have this windy canyon section here, which likes to kill you. I'll say that a lot. Every part of this track likes to kill you. And then, I don't have a name for this part of the track. Anyway, so he's taking this right fork here and entering the jungle. The jungle is really tight turns, and well, they're all blind turns, bushes and trees and stuff in the way. And then we get into the swamp, the single most difficult part of the entire game. And Lightning looks like he came prepared for this track. That was a rather decent swamp. And then we're climbing this hill back into the city section, and in 10 seconds or so he'll be crossing the start-finish line and beginning his second lap.
And that's not all, because we are now going to be entering, because run 30 exact. And then coming up here is what I like to call the Quake shortcut, because an earthquake will shatter this open on the second lap.
Yep. So here's the shortcut. That saves about 2 seconds. It can save a little bit more if you take it really aggressively, but it really likes to kill you, so doing so is not really viable in a tournament setting like this.
Ooh. But Bullseye repairs extremely quickly.
Not sure why Jogilbee's stream is down.
No, I have no idea either.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get it back up. In the meantime, though, you can see Goblin being very cautious on these turns. He's using his brakes a lot, which honestly isn't a bad strategy if you're not super familiar with this track. Ooh, Lightning taking a death. However, that's his first death so far, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's kind of remarkable. It's always an accomplishment to make it onto the third lap of this track without a death. Yeah, we still haven't heard from Jogilbee. Ooh, second death and a bad respawn. Okay, thanks for checking that, Nacho. Well, oh. No, that's what you mean. Yeah, he's still alive. Alright, Lightning approaching the swamp on his third lap. We'll see how he does. He took 2 deaths during this run, and the second death had a bad respawn, which cost several seconds. Well, geez, what time are we looking at here? 4:35-ish? That may be 4:40. Never tell. Alright, Jogilbee is bringing... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Jogilbee said he's going to be bringing up soon.
Oh, a death right before the finish, and... No! He didn't make it!
That hurts! That absolutely hurts!
Oh, that's bad. Anyway, he got a 446.241, which is 10th place on this track.
Yeah, this is gonna be the track that determines people's seeding order, because it's so radically unique in strategies compared to every other track. You either know it well, or you don't.
He is 20. That run was 22 seconds away from 9th place. So that's the amount of spread there is on this track. I should comment that apparently in the Nintendo game guide for this game, the developers game gave a par time of 6 minutes and 20 seconds for this track. The world record currently stands at 4 minutes 5 seconds, which is more than 2 minutes faster.
And to put things into perspective about that dev time, a couple players, including I, have busted that dev time without upgrades.
Yeah. 4:53, very solid time again from our unknown runner.
Yes. 130. 130.745. And he's gonna go for another run. Aye! getting under 5 minutes as a rookie is really solid for this track.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the times really start, a decent time is like under 5 minutes, and then it starts getting much, much harder the lower you go from 4:59 up until now we have it down to 4:05.
Uh-huh. Nacho brings up a good point, though, that the entire run wasn't on screen, so it will still count if he can submit video proof after the run, but ideally he can just beat that time and avoid that whole mess.
Yeah, we still have 22 minutes left on the clock. And another thing to put things into perspective is also the original N64 record holder back in 546.05 for Goblin.
Nice.
And it's actually, to put things in perspective on how much this track's evolved, the original world record for the N64 back in 2005 was Wouter Jansen. He got 525 or 528 with fully upgraded Bullseye, and a few players have actually beaten that time with no upgrade bulls.
Uh-huh. And using Bulger on this track is so hard.
Especially without upgrades?
Uh-huh. I mean, okay, so Bull's Roar is such a strange pop because his turning is kind of bad, his top speed is very good, and his boost thrust is the second highest in the game. And so, because of raw speed, he is the fastest pod on this track without upgrades. But the difficulty is, yeah, well, okay, my time on this track is 4th or 5th fastest. Yeah, I'm sitting on 4th on speedrun.com, and I do not feel using bulls.
Yeah. 433.226 for Lightning.
Alright, that's an improvement of more than 10 seconds. Yeet.
Still looks like he's on pace to... Oh no!
Yikes.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Despite seeing that improvement of 10 seconds for Lightning, I would like to see him improve another 10 seconds. That would put him on about on par with the last Nacho and Page, who all got between 4 minutes 20 and 4 minutes 24 in qualifying. Alright, hello everybody who just showed up. So, we are nearing the end of the qualifying sessions for this year's tournament. So, how this works is each player is given an amount of time on each of 4 tracks to put in the best time that they can, and that will determine where they get placed into the tournament bracket. Which will be starting in about a week, I believe.
I think it starts this Monday.
Yeah, so we are on the 3rd track in this qualifying session, so there will be one more after this. So this track is Grabvine Gateway. It is by far the most difficult track in the game. And by far, I mean... There are other extremely difficult tracks in the game, but this track is so insane that it still stands out from among them.
Yeah, it is a brutal,
so-
winding track.
Go ahead.
It's a brutal, winding track.
So, LightningPirate is one of our oldest and most prestigious members of the community. He does a variety of things in the community, including speedruns, but also multiplayer and modding the game, and also administration. He does a lot for us. Jogilbee is a completely new runner to us, but he has been putting in some impressive time, so we're really interested to see how he'll be getting on in the tournament. Goblin Lifestyle previously was in the tournament known as by the name Mystery Liquid. And so, yeah. So there are 17 more minutes on this track. The players can put in as many attempts as they want during that time. At the end of that time, they cannot start any new attempts. But of course, if they're on an attempt, they can finish it. And then we'll be moving on to our last track, which will be Gauntlet.
It's a long track, but it's much straighter.
So Lightning is approaching the swamp, which is the single hardest section of track in the game. And despite going slow and safe, he found a place to die.
He was on heavy damage, so he was more prone to having a slight bump like that. If he were at lower damage, he might have survived.
So Goblin finishing with 5 minutes 40. That's an improvement of 6 seconds for him.
Okay, this looks like sub 4:30 for Lightning.
Oh, good.
425.98 it looks like. 429.959 that looked like.
$958. Thank you, Nacho. Jogilbee is finishing up his last lap here. He is the swamp ahead of him. And he died on the very first obstacle in the swamp. Which happens sometimes. And the last obstacle in the swamp.
The last... Why is it that he got... Why did he crash so... That is such a bizarre crash pattern.
Uh-huh.
So bizarre.
Oh no!
Ah! Come on!
Okay, he's a few seconds off of
He'd
his
still beat
previous run, which didn't count.
He did beat it. He got 457.844.
No, he didn't beat it. His previous run was a 453.
Ooh.
4 seconds slower. But his previous run doesn't count since it wasn't all on stream, so this is his official time so far.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, if Jogilbee can improve that time by 5 seconds, so if he can get a 452, then he'll be overtaking Digital Unity in qualifying.
Seems like Jogibee's OBS has been really wonky this session.
Uh-huh. Oh, he died in the same spot again. And he's resetting that run. He doesn't like it. His previous best is a 425. So he will be restarting anytime he feels like he's not on that pace. Like right now. There's no point in continuing a run if you died 10 seconds into it. Oh, died in the same spot again. That turn is really difficult.
Yeah, you have to really thread the needle with that.
Especially when you're doing it on while boosting. That time you made it. So again, for context, the world record on this track is 20 seconds faster than the best time Lightning has put in so far. And jogilbee restarting. Goblin is on his final lap here. Well, just the beginning of his final lap.
I see Lightning restart. He crashed multiple times in that jungle section. I'm amazed Goblin survived that.
So, Bullseye Navarre is very prone to crashing. And the reason for that is that the way the physics work in this game, whether or not you die when you hit a wall depends on how much speed you lost when you hit it. And because Bullseye is so agile, it makes it very easy to hit the wall with a lot of net speed. And so he dies a lot.
Not to mention there's also a hidden stat called damage immunity, which refers to how fragile you are. And Bullseye is also
that refers to how much damage you take when you hit a wall.
Whoa, Goblin got 531! That's
nice.
A 10-second improvement. This is what I mean by him having a reputation for learning games quick. 531.626 for him.
$129. That is a solid lap 1 from Lightning. That's on pace for about a 415, 418.
Not anymore!
Oh, okay, now he's on pace for like a 420. Which would still be an improvement. Oh! Okay, nope, not anymore. That was a weird death. He was probably pushing too hard after his first death. Trying to make up time.
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times on that section where you hit the edge of the wall and you just crash. And sometimes, even when I'm not boosting, I'll crash hard into that. Yeah. Oh man, this looks really fast for jogilbee. 132. Jeez. For a rookie, that's really insanely good. That's actually my PB record. That was my fastest lap record on Grapevine Gateway back in 2011-12 was 132. So
yep.
That's really solid.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think Lightning has been ignoring the shortcut every time. So I guess I haven't paid attention every time.
I think he's restarted so much before the second lap that he hasn't had time to go to the quick shortcut on laps 2 and 3.
Yeah, maybe. And it's interesting that he's struggling quite a bit now. On his first attempt in this session, he didn't die until his third lap.
Well, I like to say this track is very fatiguing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, after my own qualifying session on this track, well, after setting a good time that I did, I had to take a breather for 5 minutes just to calm down.
Using no upgrade rats Terrell, and you beat the div time with him?
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay. I don't think we need to worry about that hidden time anymore. He's got it. 446.54. That is
very nice.
Insane. That is insanely good for a rookie.
That puts him squarely ahead of Digital Unit. He would have to lose several seconds to him on the next track in order to not beat him in the going into the tournament bracket.
Yeah.
4-3.
446.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see where that puts him. Yeah, so Jogilbee is right now sitting in 10th place out of 19 players. And he's one of our very new unknown runners, so that's really cool to see him doing so well.
Yeah. Jogilbee, just who is this mysterious pod racer? He sure impressed us with his qualifying laps, whoever he is.
Yep, he has definitely been practicing. I also kind of wonder if maybe he's been submitting stuff to speedrun, but under a different name. That happens sometimes, and it's hard to connect who's who with what's going on in the Discord. He's going nice and safe through the swamp, which is a really good strategy.
Yeah.
Ooh!
Ooh, I could see where lightning. I saw that crash coming from how he hit that angle.
Yeah. Once you get a bit of experience, you can see these deaths like a couple seconds before they happen, but by the time you get there, you're powerless to stop
133 first lap for Jogilbee as a rookie. That is really insane.
Alright, here he is on the shortcut on lap 2. You may have noticed there, he touched the right wall and lost turning for a second. That's one of the physics things in this game. If you turn into a wall, it disables your turning in that direction for like half a second. And that has been the source of many deaths. If you take a turn a little bit too tight, you hit the inside wall, and then you go straight for half a second into the other wall. So there, it just happened for him again.
And that is really easy to do with Bullseye when he's so fragile and dirty. Though, I would say the one that is the most prone to pinballing, I would say, is probably Slide Pyramida.
Slide is fun, though. Right, so there are 23... go ahead.
He's just a worse Bullseye.
Yeah. So there are 23 pods in the game, and 25 tracks. Anyway, the 23 pods are not at all balanced. Nonetheless, a lot of players have, their favorites. But yeah, there is no balance. So Ben Quaterneros is just easily the fastest pod, and then Bullseye is tied for being the most agile, but his boost thrust is much higher than the pod he's tied with, which is Slide. So Slide is just as agile as Bullseye is, but slow.
Yeah.
And then Neva Key, which is a favorite for many players, is the second fastest on the track, so he is almost as agile as Bullseye and not quite as fast. Yeah, the pods in this game are just all over the place, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. For the most part, you'll only be using 3 pods in this game, in Ben Quaterneros, Bullseye Navarre, and Mars Guo.
Yeah. However, once we get into the tournament bracket, players will be able to ban certain pods during the match, and so we'll see a lot more pods than those 3. But in a speedrunning context...
441 for jogilbee. He PB'd 441.08, and he actually beat my record at 445 that I got in 2012.
Excellent. Yeah, that's an improvement for him by 5 seconds.
Wow! What a testament to how much this game has evolved over the years, because that time I did on Gravine Gateway that I just mentioned was second place for several years.
But yeah, there's one more... Oh, go ahead.
But also, it's a lot harder to do on the 64 versus the PC, too.
Yeah, so
you can go now.
His time puts him 12 seconds ahead of Digital Unity in qualifying, so that'll give him a lot of margin in the next track coming up. Yeah, so he's sitting in 10th place right now. And 9th place is actually LightningPirate, but the gap there is 24 seconds. So it's unlikely that jogilbee will be able to overtake Lightning, but the mere fact that he's a new runner and that's kind of in the cards is kind of crazy. The timer just went off, which means nobody can start any new attempts.
Everyone is on their final attempts now.
And Lightning is on his last lap going through the swamp, which is one of the last sections of the track. So we'll see if he can beat his previous time of 4:25. It looks like he will. And yeah, the timer is on Lightning Stream, so he'll be
not quite
that after he finishes. Oh no, he didn't make it. Oh, that's too bad. 2 seconds slower than his previous run. Don't you love timers?
Yeah, Goblin's on his final lap.
Ooh, bad damage.
You do not want to get that warning message because it means you'll blow up for certain in 5 seconds or less. 5 seconds if you don't repair. And if you boost during the warning, it automatically blows you up.
Yep, it's lots of fun. So Lightning showing off the track map of the next track we're going to there. But we'll get to that in a minute. While we watch these players finish up their last attempts.
Yeah, the Gauntlet.
Goblin's previous attempt is 5:31. He will not be beating that time. So 5:31 is what he has. jogilbee has one more lap to go. starting now.
Don't think he's on pace to beat what he did either.
Yep. Right. Since we're looking at the track map, Ace brings up a good point. Other than Lightning just moved away from it. This track is actually one of the most chill tracks in the game. All those twists and turns are actually not that tight. And some of them you just jump over and skip entirely.
And Jogilebee's calling it.
He's abandoning that run. Alright, so
I think Jogilebee's restarting the game, and the Gauntlet, I would say, it's a really chill track, but then it sucker punches you right at the end with an anti-gravity tube, which are infamous in this game on these Uvu 4 tracks.
yeah. Yeah, as Ace mentioned there, this is the longest track in the game by distance. It is a few seconds slower than the longest track by time. The world record here was just recently set by Ace, and qualifying it now stands at a 4:58.3. So any time under 5 minutes 10 seconds is a really strong time. But times up to 5.5, 6 minutes are not at all uncommon.
Yeah, it really depends on which pod you use and how aggressive you go at, because the most critical part of this track is this long shortcut over the off-road, and only Mars, Ben, and Bulls are reliable at going across it from a cold start.
Yeah, so this track takes place on Uvu 4, which is a prison asteroid in the Star Wars universe, I guess. We prefer not to ask any questions about where the atmosphere comes from and stuff for the pod racing.
Yeah, and this track on the Gauntlet takes you over to the surface.
Yeah, so who knows?
Because the other tracks in Executioner and Vengeance take you into the bowels of the prison colony.
Yeah. Anyway, this track is kind of interesting because during the off-road section, it is depending on what line you take, they might start shooting at you. And in this game, that's represented as bursts of columns of fire bursting from the ground. So it's kind of makes you wonder if the prison warden is has orders to shoot you guys while you pod race. Nobody knows.
Yeah, they're ready for the countdown. I'm giving the countdown now.
Excellent. So again, they have 30 minutes to do as many attempts as they want, and the fastest time is what will count.
Yes, and I will mention too, when you talk about the warden and the prison colony, the lore had them. There's a bunch of rocks in these anti-gravity tubes, and if you read the lore of it, the prison wardens filled them with it to delight the prisoners, hearing pod racers screaming their crashes into them. So yeah, the prison wardens chocked the tubes full of ore just to delight the prisoners in seeing pods crash.
Among motorsport, pod racing has a fantastic safety rating.
It's like presented in the lore as like the most underground of all underground sports.
I wonder if, he's also a convict and it's just, a prison run by prisoners. That's what it
We
sounds
actually
like.
do.
We want some pod racing.
We actually do have a prisoner racing in this game in Fun Sang.
Yep. Yeah, in the lore, one of the 23 pods is Bud Singh, who is himself a prisoner, serving 4 life sentences.
On this exact world, Uwu 4.
Don't you love the Star Wars universe? I mean, sometimes it's great, other times it makes no sense, and that's also great.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lightning and Jogilbee approaching the toilet bowl, both jumping.
Oh, Lightning fails it, and Jogilbee nails it!
I am really impressed by Jogilbee. Like, he knows this route. As a new player. He has definitely been putting in a lot of practice for this.
I think we should give him that Rookie of the Month role for this.
Yeah, we had that a couple years ago. Was it Belios that got it, or was it someone else? I don't remember.
I think it was the Lascalar who got it in the 2019 tournament.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's a new lap record.
148.
150 with a crash! Jeez. Yeah, put things into release perspective. A time... Oh, he boosted a little too long. That can be really tricky here.
Axel, good to see you. Your comments in chat are always top notch.
You can tell Lightning's using the older strategies.
So this track is really simple, technically. It only has a few significant turns, and between them, really long straights. And so gaining time here is really difficult. And a couple years ago, we had a pretty significant push trying to get the world record down below 5 minutes. And, we analyzed the track from every angle and came up with the optimal strategy, we thought. And then we made new discoveries like last week. We keep finding new things on this track. It doesn't make sense. This track just has so much to offer with its few very sparsely laid out turns. One of the things that puzzled us the most is this jump section that Lightning is going through right now. It took us quite a while to realize that this section he's on right now isn't actually off-road. It's textured as off-road, but the game doesn't count it as such. And so it's faster to take it because the line is shorter.
Yeah. And this was also a track that also has gotten really broken with skips too, which we'll probably see in the later tournaments starting soon.
Yes. Yeah, once the bracket starts. This track has perhaps the single biggest skip in the game in terms of total time saved. More than half of the track is skipped.
Yeah.
And there are like 5 different ways to approach that skip, and one of them is relatively safe, but then there are like 4 dangerous versions of it.
Yeah. The first one was found back in 2009 by Mike and I, where Mike found it, and then
510
for Lightning. 510.284 looks like for Lightning. But the story of the first skip I will always remember, because that one was found back in 2009. And what happened was that Mike just beat it, and I knew he didn't do the full track back then. And so I just started skip hunting for that, and I found that you can hop off the rock wall, which you are just seeing with Lightning screen. And
yeah, on the right side of Lightning screen there, you can take right across the off-road and jump onto a much later portion of the track. Sorry, go on.
And so when I found that, I made it public. I basically told Mike to cough it up because I'm pretty sure I found his route. And so that was the skip. And I also was the first one to pull it off with Ben Quarneros, who's a lot dicier than Mars Guo.
Yeah, Mars Guo is most commonly used in this game because he climbs walls so quickly. It makes him really useful in a variety of skip runs. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and now we had something called the Dwayne skip in a reference to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And that one involved hopping off a rock, and now the newest version of it involves making a 180-degree turn and hopping off a rock.
While boosting. And the rock has like a 90% chance of killing you every time. Or worse, I don't know. This track is crazy. 143 is a very strong lap time for Lightning.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's probably one of the most chill tracks full, but probably one of the most brutal skip-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Abyss is like the opposite. The track of Abyss can be really punishing and hard full track, while the skip is just a cinch.
Yep. Yeah, so if any of you watching have played this game as a kid or whatever, you may remember Abyss as the one track you can do. So it has the turn at the beginning where if you fall off, it takes you on a long route that adds like 20 seconds to your time, and it's basically per lap, and it's basically impossible to win if you do that. Well, it turns out there's a skip on that track, and the world record is less than 20 seconds for 3 laps. And the skip, as you mentioned, is really easy.
And then the 1 lap record for the Abyss skip is under 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's basically how quickly can you do it in 60. That's what the 1 lap time is.
Yeah. And the Abyss skip 3 laps. Oh, 618 for Goblin, 618.97, 618.969 for Goblin.
Excellent. Jogilbee hasn't completed a run yet. We'll see what he can pull off here. It looks like Lightning is still on pace to beat his best here. Well, okay, I'll show you on Goblin's screen in a moment. Goblin has been taking the off-road route, right? Yeah, so Goblin turning right here. This is the long off-road route we've been talking about. So when you drive off-road, it reduces your speed by 25%. So you want to boost all the way through it to minimize the amount of time you spend there. And so that's why that's part of why using Ben on this track is so nice, because he's one of the few pods that can make it all the way across that in a single boost.
Yeah, because the trick with that off-road shortcut is to use the booster as sparingly as possible, and then go close to underheating, and then floor it.
Yeah. So Jogilbee, you see right here, his heat is too high. He won't be able to reach the other end on this boost. And now his... Ooh, he got the reboost just in time. I was about to say his speed was about to drop. Yeah, so you can kind of save it like that if you're not running too hot.
Yeah, but that is not an option without upgrades, because without upgrades, you just have to use it super, super sparingly, then get practically a cold start to boost down there. And that's even with Ben. In fact, I tested that skip. I actually tested that off-road shortcut with no upgrade pods, and I found out that only Ben and Mars were reliable at it. Even Bowls, which is the fastest pod without upgrades, it barely made it from a cold boost start at the right time.
Yeah. And part of the reason it's so important to make it all the way across is because it can be difficult to restart your boost while you're off-road. As how it works in game is to charge a boost, it takes 1 second, and your speed has to remain above 75% of your top speed during that time while you're charging the boost. But going off-road reduces your speed by that same amount. So if you end your boost, you have to be really quick to restart it again off-road before your speed drops too low to charge boost.
Ooh, that... I'm amazed Goblin survived that. You almost always crash spinning out of control like that.
154 is a pretty decent time. And that is easily on pace to beat his previous best, which currently stands at 6 minutes 18 seconds. Jogilbee coming in on his final lap. He only has this tube to make it through.
And he just slammed right into the rock.
Yeah. Yeah, Jogilbee has shown that he knows all of the routing for this track, except for the tube. Oh, and a death right before the finish.
Ag!
Yikes.
539.44.
Don't know what happened to Lightning Stream. Oh, did you catch his full time?
I did not, and it froze. Oh dear. I don't think he was on pace short since he
Thank you,
took
Nacho.
Oh.
E. Okay, Jogilbee needs to gain 9 seconds in order to take Digital Unity. That time was not fast enough to stay ahead of him in the bracket.
Okay, he has way too much heat for this.
Yeah, he might not even be able to get the reboost. We'll see. Ooh, just barely.
And he caught fire. Got lucky with it repairing that quick.
Yeah, catching fire is sometimes a big deal, sometimes not, because when you're on fire, you hold the repair button to put it out, and every frame there is a 3% chance of putting out the fire. So 601, nice.
601.89.
So
and also it's
yeah, go ahead.
It's also tied to frame rate too, because 601.885 for Goblin, but catching fire is really tied to frame rate, because the slower the frame rate, the more likely it is to last longer.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes you get lucky and the fire lasts 1 frame. Sometimes you get unlucky and it lasts for like 8 seconds. Which is always a pain when that happens.
Though, the only time you should expect to catch fire is on the final stretch of the final lap, where on most tracks, it's most optimal to floor the boost and then catch fire right as you cross the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah, in my testing I found about 1/5 of a second before you cross the finish line is the optimal time to catch fire.
That's across all the tracks?
Well, that's assuming a track that allows you to max out your heat at the end. So
Yeah.
basically all the time. Lightning restarting his attempt. Well, he has a 510, so he does need to be a little bit picky now. If he gets 1 or 2 deaths, he'll probably restart and try again, because he won't be on pace for beating his 510 that he's already set. Again, to beat Digital Unity, jogilbee needs about 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
I see it in him. He knows. He's learned very quickly how to do it.
Mostly he just needs to be careful with the anti-gravity tube at the end, which he's going through right now.
Yeesh!
Eesh.
That tilting is just a recipe for disaster in those tubes.
Yeah, spinning through there is not the recommended strategy on this track. On Vengeance, it tends to work really well, but not here.
And if you're on low frame rates, the spinning is a lot more intense.
He is nonetheless on pace to get 530. Okay, he's still on pace to get 530, barely.
Yeah. Not a smart strategy. I think he's compromising himself by boosting way too... And that's what I mean. He's just overheating. He's using the booster a lot more than he should for that first part of the track, because you have to be really stingy with the boost to the point of underheating if you want to cross that off-road shortcut well.
Yep.
And you have to be even stingier without upgrades.
Lightning not going for the bull jump anymore. So that turn that he just took is about a 300-degree turn. It's more than a 180. In fact, it's more than a 270, as you can see by the track map if you look. And you can skip. You can take that turn type by jumping into it, which saves a couple tenths of a second. And he went for it in his first few attempts, but he's not now. I guess he doesn't feel safe with it. 532, that is 1.5 seconds short of the time that he needs to beat Digital Unity.
Closing in on him, though. He has enough for about 2 more attempts.
Yeah, so we have 10 minutes to go. At the end of those 10 minutes, the players cannot begin any new attempts. And Lightning wiggling in frustration for landing on the off-road without boosting.
The interesting thing too is that you could also, we found on the Gauntlet, it's not optimal. Okay, he's underheated, but this is going to allow him to make it all the way through, so hopefully that cancels out slightly.
Oh, that is really cool, Nacho. I was not aware of that. Yeah, so most players are playing this game on PC, though all platforms are legal for tournament. The only problem is that, PC is much easier to stream.
Not to mention the PC is considered the most optimal version by a wide margin. It's just, we like to say it's broken.
Yeah, the reason for that is that there are two reasons for that. First is you can adjust your frame rate on the PC, and the physics in this game, well, the handling physics are tied to the frame rate. So you can take certain turns a little faster. Wait, what was that time? 898?
601.898.
That is
Just
slower than
barely.
his previous attempt by 0.013 seconds. Anyway, so you can adjust your frame rate on PC. Also, it's a little easier to charge a boost in a turn on PC.
Not to mention you can get more responsive controller options too.
Right. So
because if you're playing on N64 or Dreamcast, you're stuck with like 25, 30-year hardware.
yeah, it's not to say that this game is not speedrunning. This game is not viable on other platforms. The advantages that we listed for PC are pretty small considering.
Yeah. I'm a Nintendo 64 runner, and the 64 and PC versions are the most optimized because those are the ones the players have played the most.
Uh-huh.
And on top of the fact that you can charge a boost while turning, that's also the reason why motion controls are theoretically the best on the Switch.
Yeah, which is so weird. But I've tried it, motion controls on Switch, and it is so impossible.
The Ubu 4 tubes are like the worst with motion controls because to really do them well, you have to hold the controls perfectly still, which is really impossible to do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so the PS4 version is basically identical to the Switch and Xbox versions. And identical to the PC version if you run it at 60 frames per second. Well, as far as physics go, the PC version does have other differences. The Dreamcast and N64 are better than the new releases because they run at lower frame rates, which is optimal for most tracks.
Yeah,
and
the
so
64.
That's how they stack up.
Yeah, the 64 runs at 24, and the 64 runs at 24, and the Dreamcast runs at 30
frames per second. Yeah.
Ooh, you just barely made that off-road shortcut.
Nice. Lightning finishing up his lap 2. He is on pace to beat his 510. He has a bit
41.
of margin for that. He's on 507, 508. Nice, right?
And jogilbee is on pace to bust 530. Oh, good. He's repairing.
Yep, jogilbee finishing up this attempt. Alright, he needs
just
to cross
can't
the
get
finish
the
line.
two. Oh, man. Gonna barely get under it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he needs a 530. He'll do it as long as he doesn't die on the finish line here. Okay,
5:28.06. He's now Bop Digital Unity.
nice. Despite the fact that Zelasalar just banned bopping. Or no, Mikey. Mikey banned bopping.
I vote.
Sorry, Mike.
Oh man. It was really funny to see. It was really funny on the match that had Metallica and King being it because all in the space of a few seconds you bopped Nacho from second to fourth.
That's great.
Because first you bopped Nacho's time, and then Metallica came in and bopped Nacho right after you.
And not Lightning putting in a 505. That is an improvement of 5 seconds. And
505.144.
that puts him right where a player of this caliber should be. Let's see where that puts him, shall we? 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the 9th fastest time posted on this track in qualifying, and that puts him in 8th place overall. He's 8 seconds behind Nacho, and it's not possible to close that gap without getting a world record on this track by at least a second. Jogilbee is sitting in 10th place right now, 2.5 seconds ahead of Digital Unity. And this is out of 19 players who have qualified so far, by the way. Let's see if Goblin can get under 6 minutes on this attempt.
He's looking on pace for it. Oh yeah, he's going to break. He's gonna shatter.
Right, I was apologizing to you because you said that bopping should be banned, and well, Jogilbee just bopped Digital Unity, so wow, under 545.
544.43 for Goblin.
That is an improvement of 17 seconds for him.
544.432 it looked like, or 422.
He is living up to his reputation of learning games quickly. Lightning going safe through the tube.
Yeah. 142.53.
Oh man, his previous attempt is 505 and he is barely on pace for that. I don't think he has the margin to go safe. He just needs to go hard, and he only has 1 minute left to start an attempt. So, assuming he doesn't crash, this will be his final attempt. Oh! Yikes, he boosted too early and lost the boost before the jump.
Oh!
Okay. And then he died, so that will cement it. He's restarting the run.
Restarting on the buzzer. Or is he just having fun now?
I think he's having fun. I mean, he's not going to get a 505 like this. We have a tracking sheet that we're looking at, which is not publicly visible. So you may be curious to know, Knock, your total time is 12 minutes 51 seconds. Who are you close to?
Time's up.
Yep. Digital Unity is 12:39. The cylinder is 13:01.
Now we're just waiting on Jogilbee and Goblin for their final attempts.
Yeah, we should maybe make that sheet public, but I am not the owner of the sheet, and I don't know what sharing permissions and stuff are like.
Yeah, it's only available to the Discord community if you share it. I feel. Yeah, we can. Yeah, you can join the Discord and get access to it.
Yeah. Regardless, though, starting next week we'll be starting the actual tournament bracket, and that bracket will be posted on Challenge, which will be publicly visible. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Oh, I agree. Jog will be on the final lap of his attempt.
A Goblin still has a lap and a half to go. Oh no!
Ooh,
Yikes!
that cost him.
That cost him a lot. And yeah, so having
He's
to do
calling
the
it.
entire off-road without boost, that wastes too much time.
You could theoretically go straight to that prison wall and then tilt and right it to charge the boost.
Yeah, I have done that before. You can, if you take a bit of a detour, you can ride the wall and get off the off-road long enough to charge a boost, but
oh dear,
that detour costs time as well.
I remember when I actually did my no upgrade Bullseye all track run. Since Bullseye just can't make it all the way, I just deliberately boosted towards it and wall ride it.
Uh-huh.
And it's... Yeah, now we're waiting on Goblin, where he's on his final lap.
Yep,
Doesn't look like he's getting...
Yeah, his previous
like...
best is 5:44. He does not look like he's on pace to beat it.
Not at all.
But if he has a clean lap, it's still possible. I think he would have to go through the UV tube without dying, though.
Yeah. And for once, we actually finished ahead of schedule, so we actually have times for interviews since we have a 2-hour block and we have about 15 minutes for interviews.
Yep. I, however, won't have much time. I will need to run shortly after we finish this.
Yeah. I can continue on the interviewing on my own.
Yeah, that's fine.
So.
Ooh, he takes red warning damage there. If you take really bad damage, if you take a lot of damage on an engine section, it pulls your pod to the side.
Yeah, it starts pulling you when you hit flashing red, because if it's deep red, it doesn't affect you, but then flashing red starts messing with your controls.
Yep, and then it's easy to, turn into the wall and take even more damage, and, it's just a vicious cycle at that point. Yep, so he did not beat his previous time, though he did come pretty close. So we'll see if we can get people in for interviews here. Hello, Goblin and Lightning.
And that's what we call on-the-job training. All right. I only played 2 of those tracks before yesterday.
Oh, really?
I agreed to join the tournament like Thursday night. I downloaded the game at like 7 p.m. yesterday.
No, but I remember you from the 2019 tournament, Goblin, for being a reputation for learning games quick, which you did.
Yeah, no, that's I hadn't played it in between then and now, so.
Oh boy, well, it's good to see you back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lightning, how was that for you? It seemed like you were struggling a little bit today.
Yeah, I don't feel as practiced as I probably should be, but I keep telling myself it's just qualifying, you know.
Yeah.
Let's wait to prove ourselves in the
Right. It doesn't
We're
really
really
matter until there's a possibility of getting knocked out, right?
But also these tracks just suck, man. Like I felt like so fatigued once Grabvine came. I was just like, man, I got 15 more minutes of this.
Man, 30 minutes of execution is an endurance test because it's like, all right, now just 10 seconds of sitting in this tunnel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I don't know, the walls in that one are rude. I kept just I was tapping walls the least out of any of the tracks there, and then they would just kill me every time.
Oh, Grapevine?
No,
on
Executioner.
the Gauntlet too.
Oh,
Or Gauntlet, yeah.
Yeah, I've ran into that too, and I go back to 2008 in this game.
Yeah.
Looking at the sheet though, I'm really pleased that I shaved off those last final 5 seconds off Gauntlet, because that put me just barely above Zelaskalar.
Yeah.
That's all he needed.
I had no idea it was that close. Like, if you look, I'm like 9th the whole time, and then I just boop, right over there. Oh, I'm gonna rub that in his face later.
And Jogilbee, you just really impressed us with your qualifying laps.
oh, thanks. Really excited
we're-
to be here, man. I haven't played the game in many years, at least 10 probably, but I played it
Oh wow.
a lot
Nice.
way back then, and so I guess it's the rest is shaking off pretty quick.
It's been really cool to see you because nobody here knows who you are, and you're just putting in really strong times.
Oh, thanks.
They're like, who is this guy?
Oh, I forgot to correct you earlier too. It's Jogilbee.
Okay.
Thank you! And we were actually using one of the lines for Elon Mack, which I used for you, Jogilbee, was Elon Mack goes, Elon Mack, just who is this mysterious pod racer? He sure impressed us with our qualifying laps, whoever he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I am just really happy to be playing the game again. I'm having a great time.
That is so great to hear. It showed.
Dude, I think this game is so fun. It's been one of my favorite racing games ever since we first got it on Dreamcast, since what, 2001, 2002 when we got it?
Hard. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's I'll be doing my laps and think, that went pretty well, and I'll look at an ace lap and he's so smooth. How?
Yep.
Oh my god. It's I have all my records from back in the day also, and Aces just took it to a whole new level.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the boost holds, the Mongaza Speedway hold, the first one, all the way around the 3 corners. I cannot do that no matter what I try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had never really touched Mongaza Speedway until this, and I was like, man, it is way more complicated. For being the shortest track in the game, the point that speedrunners have brought it to is just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky I actually played a decent amount the first tournament you guys ran, or I would have been sunk on that one, I think. It's got so many weird nooks and crannies.
Yeah, there's definitely you have to kind of get into a weird, I don't know, if you're even from the first turn almost, it feels like if you don't have the first turn, you're done at that point.
There's no recovering. Yeah.
And
it's a really awkward first turn to start because you have to start turning half a second before you hit the boost, which is so weird. And you have to slide the whole time. like, what's going on?
And especially with Ben Quaternaros because he's so stiff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, but I love trying it. It's just
Yeah.
threading the needle.
So we have 2, maybe 3 players left to qualify. It's not clear yet whether that qualifying session will be broadcast. But in any case, next week we'll be starting into the actual tournament bracket, which will be really exciting. And that's when... Well, okay, we won't jump straight into a knockout session. There will be a group stage first. But yeah, the main tournament will be a bunch of 1v1 matches. And the skips will be allowed. There are a bunch of skips in this game. A bunch of different pods will be used. It will be... yeah, the 1v1 is always really exciting to get into. So y'all should definitely be tuned in for that and check the SpeedGaming schedule.
And also you can also do the things without any upgrades, and you can now possibly see no upgrades and skips forced simultaneously.
Oof.
Yep. It'll be a riot.
Yeah, no thanks.
Too many weird tricks.
But anyway, this was probably going to be the end of our qualifying if we don't make it within a few hours. But anyway, this was a great way to end it if it does. And good luck, and may the force be with you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG's.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. See y'all next time.
Things without any. May the force be with you. And you can now possibly see